have done this semester that very fun. HTML, CSS in lecture 1, finished. Last year I had this in lecture 1 and this in lecture 2. And there is a reason for that. It is kind of a crash course because if we go to lecture 2, we have JavaScript, and then in lecture 3 we'll have start with ASP.NET. And this will be, you will be into 2 weeks in ASP.NET before you go on break. And that I wanted. Right. That's why I took it in a rush, but don't worry. You still have like a break period where you can finish your pending work. That's why I just moved and rushed. So here in our HTML tutorial, very basic stuff. You need to see that whatever so whatever is on your browser is displayed through HTML. Okay, and that is why we have different versions of HTML. Started off with HTML 1.0, which was really basic static HTML. Then it went to HTML2, which was introduced in 1995. Browser evolved, extra capabilities included. Form came into place, which lets you upload things, which lets you edit something. And then HTML 3.2 came in, and then what we call W3. W3 Schools is basically your worldwide web consortium. Okay, so they tried to make a standard so that every browser can use those standards and can be utilized. Then in 1997 we have HTML 4.0. It has too many browser-specific elements. Now when we say browser-specific elements, some are Chrome-specific elements, some are IE-specific elements. And why Chrome is better? Because they keep on innovating tags. And that's why we all love Chrome. While our Edge, they're just, copying, trying to keep up. Then came 4.01, and then came XHTML. You can see in some documents doc type XHTML, which is dynamic HTML, but this all is now obsolete. We have moved to HTML5. Okay, and what is HTML5? Last time I did tell you it is basically a platform of other technologies. Okay, started in October 2014, first released in 2016, 5.1, and we have these other editors where we can write HTML. But I asked you to use Visual Studio. Now, you can write your HTML document in Notepad or Notepad++ or any of these. Simple, easy, just see in the browser, you can see your web page. Why I wanted Visual Studio? Because on third week we are going to ASP.NET. I want you to familiarize yourself with the environment, okay? So that you don't feel that environment is not something you are grasping and all that. So I want you to, slowly learn Visual Studio Enterprise environment, how to use it, and so that you are able to do ASP.NET. Now, if you see, HTML, JavaScript, and CSS, they are the basic technologies every front-end developer uses, right? But then you are moving on to ASP.NET for front-end and back-end for Entity Framework. This is just a start because for beginners, everything can become too much overwhelming. That's why this is basic technology which we are doing in the first 2 weeks, okay? And then we are moving on to the technology which is being used in that industry. I cannot take you directly to ASP.NET. Now they're all different, kind of, right? They're all different technologies we are working on. But I wanted you to start with HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, and you can learn the three in your 100 level paper, in your any other paper as well. But then you have to go out in the industry as well, so that's why we just do it. And then in that one, I will take you, step by step. That book, you will do the whole book yourself. You'll write the code. You'll actually replicate it. Okay, but why this is happening, then you'll read through it. Okay, so we started off with 2015. So that book is 2015 book. I have implemented the same project in 2017, so it all works. Right? .NET framework that we are using is 4.7 or 4.6, but hopefully you all have 4.7. What we are doing, we have our content, our problem, and then we are displaying it on browser through HTML, and we are using CSS for presentation. What is bold, what is not, what has borders, what should be the font size, the presentation things. And they are separated, and these all are separated in CSS. That becomes your website. Okay. Basic syntax, you have your tag name, tag attribute, and value. For example, there is a tag A in the below example. A is an anchor for a URL reference. URL reference is href and the URL there. Okay, so that is your attribute with a value. So what is the value and what is an attribute? Href is an attribute of anchor tag, and www.google.com is your value. It's always like that. Okay, value and attribute could be optional. It is not necessary to have your value and attribute there, but this is the basic syntax. Okay. Question? Okay. So this is another example. Now the B tag is used to make text bold in HTML. And how we do that? Through just writing, within B tags, he is a boy. So when it is displayed in the browser, it will come as boy. There is no attribute in this tag, and there is no value in this tag. Can you see any value or attribute there? It's only content there. Okay. So content can't be within the tags. In the tag name, we just have tag name, or if you have attribute and value, that's your tag. Then href tag is used to make hyperlink in HTML, and I have already told you that if you do this, he's a boy becomes a hyperlink. Hyperlink to website setup.org. Right? So tags practically are building blocks of HTML. You cannot write HTML without tags, and almost every tag has an open and close slashes. But with HTML5, it has changed. You can look for that. Sometimes we just have, for example, like in BR, BR is a single tag. You don't need a closing tag there. But in HTML5, what they have done is in some tags, you just don't have the ending tag, and you write, okay, I'll talk about it sometimes. So BR is without ending tag, P is bold, and \P is the ending tag of bold. Similarly, every HTML starts with an HTML tag and ends with /HTML. Every HTML document starts with HTML doc type HTML. Now, what is doc type? Doc type tells the browser what are the rules it has to follow. If you have doc type XHTML, the browser has to follow rules for XHTML. But when we say HTML only, it is HTML5. Okay. Now this p tag can be written without any attribute or value, but here we have an attribute which is align and its value is center. What it does, it makes the content aligned to center. Okay. Okay. Then we have head element. Now head element is the element where you write your title. Title is the thing that comes in the browser tab. It's going to get, it's getting, I can't really explain it without doing it. So I'll just use my computer because we don't have Visual Studio here in this machine. So UTF-8 as well, it helps you, your page decide which course you have to use. And meta element specifies information such as, what is the description, if there is any keyword, is there any author information, meta information about that page. You have to write your comments in the document as you start with meta information. Line breaks. Line breaks just breaks the line. And why we use it? The people who already know HTML. Why we have BR tag? Yeah.
It's just the equivalent of new line.
Why we need that?
So that the text doesn't write next to each other. If you want the text to start on a new line, then you need to tell it.
So that means HTML or your browser doesn't recognize white spaces. So if you have like whole white space on the page and no break, no BR, it won't display it as you have written it. Okay, so it recognizes, it doesn't really recognize the white spaces, and that's why we have BR, we have NB space, at NBSP. For spaces we use this. Now I will start from the beginning, how to start Visual Studio. If you have already installed Visual Studio, okay? So your Visual Studio would be somewhere around B. I have so many, this is 2515 and this is 2017 version as well. So both of them. And I am just testing Surface as much as I can, testing its boundaries. So this is where we are. If you have workload ASP.NET and website installed, then you should have file new project. Okay? If you want me to open Visual Studio 15, I'll do that as well. And both are community versions. On my computer, we have enterprise version. So And in your labs, again, it's enterprise version. It should not matter. So if I go to File, New, in 2015 you see there is an option of Project and Website. So if you have 2015 somehow, then you should go to Website. And if you do not, then you will have 2017 where you are going to go into New Project. Here you have this Web option. Okay, select this one. Now you see there is only ASP.NET Core Web and Web Application. We want, for the first two labs, we want empty website. Okay, so we go to previous versions, and there it is, your ASP.NET empty website. Right? Just like this. You can select your own folder where you want to work, and I'm just saving it for now, whatever name it is given me. Okay, so blank website is just like this. This is Solution Explorer where your files will come. There is no file. These are the configuration files. We are not looking into them at the moment. So, for example, we have to write an HTML file, right? So I right click and I say add and add new item. Are you following me? And then I select HTML page, and I can write any name of my HTML page here and add. Those who are new to Visual Studio, they have to nod to tell me that they are following me. Okay, right. So we are here. It gives us the skeleton. We just saw the skeleton on our slides, and it is giving us the skeleton. When I told you that doc type HTML, we are following HTML5, characters are UTF-8 because there are some codes in your web browser that have to be shown. It should follow these Unicodes. For that, we have to have this UTF-8. Others are kind of obsolete for new ones. The title should come in the tab. So when we have the browser open up, first website should come on the tab. So there is this IIS Express, and it gives you other options as well. So you can view your web page on Chrome. You can view your web page on Internet Explorer or Microsoft Edge. I am used to Chrome, but you can test your page and your tags in different browsers. Okay. So if I go to my Chrome page, what should I see?
Nothing.
Good. I will see nothing but the
Title.
title. And where it is? On the tab, right? So that is it. That's it. Okay. So in head we just write title, and there are a few things that we write, but I'm not going into that for now. In body we have the content. Bulk of your content here, anything that we want to write. I'll just go back to your slides and see what we have to write. So that we are So imagine there is no heaven, it's easy if you try. No hell below us, above us, in the sky. Wow. I don't know, find meanings behind these things. I must have copied it from somewhere. So yeah, how should look? It should just look like a paragraph with BRs. If we don't have BRs, how should it look? I just remove one BR, okay? Just for you to see. So do save your work before looking at the browser. Browser may not let you view, okay? If you have not saved it. And do see my videos as well, because there are some points that I might have discussed in my videos. Oh, VR is not doing anything.
Because it's the last one.
Because it's the last one.
Interesting.
See, I can make mistakes. That's why these people should help me. So you can go back to the same page and press F5. Okay, you don't have to go back. So this is it. It works. And then what we have? This tag does not need to be closed since it doesn't need to encapsulate anything. Then we have other formatting stuff. For example, your bullets, your numbers. How we do that in HTML, we have tags for that, right? You can download a HTML CSS G-sheet and see all the tags there. You can go into W3 schools and see the tags and how they're working. But OL is tag for orderless. So we just paste and okay. This is order list. And why order list has to have LI? LI is list item. So every list item has to be inside this. It's very tedious. You have to write. But your Visual Studio has IntelliSense and it gives much of the code itself. We don't have to write much. Okay, so what is this one? It is nested unordered list and ordered list, nested unordered list, where unordered list is your I am doing Control S, so you have to save it before seeing we're going to see it. Okay. So nested bullets can have nested UL and LIs. Okay. Just like these. So you have UL starting, this UL is closing here, this UL is closing here, this LI is here, and then it is closing here. So within this list item, you have another unordered list of 3 items. This is nested, and this is all formatting. Okay, question? Understood? Easy? For starters as well? Good. Hyperlink, I've already talked about the difference between blank and self. Anyone? What is target is equal to blank and target is equal to self. Why is target is equal to blank? Why is target is equal to self? In this ahref.
It's written there, so.
It's written there?
Yep.
But what do they do? There's a difference between the two.
Blank opens in a new tab.
One opens the new tab,
And
one
one
opens within
opens
this.
in the same page.
Yes. Okay, do you want me to try that? I don't think I have about page. So you have to have about page.html somewhere as well. I can write Google. that back section is correct?
Yeah. So if you do this without the
Without the?
yes.
Yeah. So what is the difference between S and OS?
Secure.
Yes.
Google made a point of it.
Okay. So when you copy paste, you see your codes are correct. Because words codes are different than your value codes.
Yeah. Not realizing that.
好像真不错啊，他这个，比较活性是吧？
White space means so you can't copy and paste it.
So it does open up in the new tab, right? So tab is there. The other one was
我没用过这个，好像说。
other one was underscore cell. See, IntelliSense, it gives you, you don't have to write much, but you should know, from where the word starts. Okay, start cell. Open split it, okay? Great. Next we have images. So for using images, your image should be in the same folder where you are working. So if your file is in your own folder somewhere, then your image should be in the same folder. And you have to give your path to the image. So the tag says image src. Src is the attribute. Value should be the path to the image. That image should be in the same folder, or if it's not in the same folder, then you have to give the whole path, of course, okay? If somehow your image cannot be displayed, then you should give alt is equal to your alternative text if the image cannot be displayed in some browser. While style is equal to width and height gives the size of your image, width and height of the image. You can select that. You can have it. And you can show your image even without alt and height and width. So they're all optional, but you have to give source path. Otherwise, there is no point, right? I'm not going to image because I have to select an image and then show it to you. You can test it yourself, right? Or do you want me to show it? Select it. Raise hands if you want. You have to tell me to do things because sometimes things are very intuitive to me. I don't find them as difficult as you might be facing yourself. So you have to tell me. Okay? Next, after images, what we use on browsers a lot is tables. Sometimes tables are, they're not showing the borders of the tables, but the things are in tables. Okay. So how do we create tables? Table has table tag. Table starts with a table tag. Table ends with a table tag. Then table has table rows, TR. Okay. And that TR could have TH tag. Now TH is table header, TD is table data. So whenever you are giving table, then you know how many rows and how many columns you're going to give. Then you have to arrange that data accordingly. Okay, so here we have table header and then we have table data. Now if I have 3 headers, then I have 3 different data lines as well within one row. TR starts here and TR ends here. Within one row, I have to have 3 things, or we can, there could be some blanks, but you can't have more than 3 because the table doesn't support more than 3 things. Okay, so if I make this table in page, everything here. So we have table header 1, table header 2, table header 3 with input 1 under header 1, input 1 under header 2, header 1, header 3, because it's showing you that this is row 1, this is row 2, this is row 3. There are no lines there because I have not given them, but the table is there. Okay? You can have other options, other attributes with the table. For example, style, you can give 100% width, or the colors, or any border you want to, and so your attributes, you have seen that the values are in the inverted commas. Okay. But these days, browsers have become very, lenient. So sometimes, if you're not doing something, they might do it for you. So if you're giving 100% width, because I've not specified the width, and it is giving me a whole page. Right. If I do 100 px, means 100 pixels, then it will be just very small size of the width. We can have quotations. I think I've asked about quotations in your lab work as well. So for quotations, you use Q, a simple quote, where if you have a block quote, you use block quote tag. Okay. So this is block quote, something in paragraph. Where something is simple, just this line, then it would appear in semicolons. Just copy paste it and show you what it is. This is simple, and block quote is started with here and here. Go back. Simple should be in Q, right? See, Visual Studio gives you the ending quote. You don't have to write it. Otherwise, in earlier days, we had so many mistakes just because we didn't write the last ending quote, ending tag. So this is simple and sample, and here is a block quote. Okay, with no quotation marks. Or there are quotation marks. And that actual quote symbol may or may not be added. Okay. So if you want to add quote within a quote, you have to use block quote, like this. Or if you just want to write one line in quotations, you have to write Q, not P. Okay? Q. That is the last slide of part 1. Then we have where is my website? Where? Somewhere in store. Is your result out? Did you find?
I haven't got any exam results yet. Not a single one.
So HTML5 and CSS3. So it is coming from your msdn.microsoft.com library. So with Visual Studio, with everything that we are learning, you can find information on MSDN as well, which is the library that helps you. So you have created a web page. You have not actually, but you will. Some of you have. Using CSS and following some instructions. Now you know basics, how HTML works. At least you know that. you can use Visual to help you through IntelliSense, and you have seen how IntelliSense works. It gives you ending code, it starts, if you write some letter, it gives you the whole word and all that. But this is general term for different features. It gives you quick info, it completes your word and helps you your typing. And even writing your properties. So if you write incorrect, it gives you red line or it gives you green line. Green line means grammar. That means you have missed some ending tag or something. And red line means that it is not, this thing has not to be used there. Okay, it's incorrect altogether. So some tags things you don't want to use because you don't know how to use them. I've already talked about doc type. Doc type we're using HTML for HTML5, earlier versions but different. And character encoding UTF-8. In the lab work, I asked you to change the UTF, but you stick with UTF-8. Okay. Modernizer. I have given you some files, and there is a file named as Modernizer. Why is Modernizer there? Because it is a free source, open source, MIT licensed JavaScript library. Now what happens that people create these libraries for us to use. This is plagiarism. In programming is altogether different. So someone has created something and it has given you to use it. It's all public, so you can use it in a program. Okay, so you can help each other as as a collaborative work, but you cannot work for someone else. That's where this thin line is. So you can help her, but you cannot work for her. You can tell her how this code works, what should you do, but she has to do it on her own. So that is what collaborative work means. So you can help each other, okay? And we are all open about it. So this is the library that is there, and it is there because there are some new elements in CSS style which previous browsers do not support. So if Modernizer file is used as an external file, your whatever you are doing can be supported by the previous browser as well, even if you are using new tags, new CSS elements. That's why Modernizer is there. Okay. The most interesting new HTML elements. Now, these are very specific to HTML5. They were not there before. These are the semantic elements, just like header, footer, article, and section. How people were doing, how people were making their websites is through divs. There was a div tag for everything. So you had to decide if this is a header, if this is a section, if this is making an article, or if this is a section or footer. But now with HTML5, these are the tags already given. So if you are writing something in footer, it will go at the back, at the end of the document. There. Even then, you have to think how you are writing. If you are writing it at the start of the page, I'm not sure it's good. It will go at the end of the page. Okay. So you have to write thoughtfully. So new attributes, form elements like number, date, time, calendar, and range are there. There are some graphic elements. They were in earlier HTML as well. For example, SVG was there. This is the graphic element. Then we have canvas. So canvas is the canvas where you are working. Multimedia elements, if you want to incorporate an audio file or video file, you have to use audio and video tags. And there is a figure tag as well. Okay. Mostly in my labs, so for first lecture, only one first lab we are doing HTML CSS. I am not going to use your new attributes form elements might be used. We are not doing graphic, we're not doing multimedia, we're not doing figures. But they're there, you can use them. So I'm not saying that you should not, they're there, you can use them for your assignment. It's all up to you. You can test your limits as much as you can. I cannot teach you everything, as I said, but you can test your limits in your assignment one. So you enjoy doing your assignment one. That's the plan. What else? It is good time to know that HTML5 is still working. It's still work in progress, and by 2020 it's going to be get settled. Opacity and versions. Now, opacity doesn't work with previous versions. Opacity is a new attribute, and I think in the assignment I asked you to have the opacity set. So when you give something like this, for example, you set background color to RGB 5510255, it will set your background color. If you give color white, in previous version, it will set color as white. For the newer version, it will look at RGBA. Okay, so RGBA will not be supported by the previous versions. So if your page is going to be seen in previous browsers, it will take color colored white. If it is going to be seen in the newer versions, RGBA will be seen. And then with RGBA, you can have 0.8 here. And 0.8 is the opacity. Okay. Opacity, if someone doesn't know what opacity is, just lightens the color. If this is maroon, it's going to be lighter maroon with just 0.8 fraction. And then we have font, normal, small caps, 0.8 EM/4 EM. This is the size of your font. The space between letters, characters is something else. I've asked this in your lab assignment. If you can't find it, then you have to Google and see what it is, okay? Time New Roman, time serif, text aligner center. Now you do not need to specify each and everything. These are optional, but if I've asked you, then you have to do it. Then you have to find out how to do it. The basic syntax of CSS is just like this. So you have to have an element, the element that you are using on your page. When I say page, that means your web page, that is your HTML page. All elements of your web page, when I say elements, these are the tags, right? All elements on your web page can be stylized in CSS. For that style, for making those styles, you have to have that element like this. For example, footer address, and then curly braces. In curly braces, you have your attribute and your values. All attributes and values in CSS file. Okay? And this is what I have explained in lecture 1 part 2. Okay? The other thing is viewport. I think that's something on my note. Okay. Viewport is the width of your device. It can happen that your website is being seen on a mobile. So viewport decreases, right? So if you give meta name viewport, content width, and is equal to device width, and its initial scale, it should set your user's visible area of a web page. If you want me to try this, we can. So we have this, but it won't show here because we have, how is the view now? Okay, this is the view. I'm not sure how will it. But in my video, you can see that. It will just set the size of the browser according to your page. Visible area of the page. Now, what are pseudo classes? What? Oh, it's 2:45 already. But what are pseudo classes are, they just define a special state of an element. For example, you have A element. Okay. Now, special state could be visited, over, active. These are the special states of an anchored tag, of a hyperlink. So you can stylize that as well. And A-link color is this. When it's visited, you can change the color to this. When the mouse is over it, you can change the color to this. When the anchor is selected, you can change the color to FFF. Now, what are these? Anyone who don't know?
The color code, right?
These are the colors.
Text
And
code.
from where can we get those?
You can get it from Photoshop.
You can get that's like too far to get from the photograph. With Visual Studio, it won't be a problem. So when you write RGB, it should come up. And just close this one and try to write a CSS file, because I have not. And add new item again, you have to write a CSS document. That means.
Style sheet.
Where it is, yes. So you write stylesheet.css. You can change the name, of course. Okay. There's a style sheet. It's giving you a body. Why? Oh, because you can change the color of the body. So if I have to change the color of the body, then it gives me colors. So very easy. You can select any color from here. You don't need to give the hexadecimals. And semicolon. Do we have a body tag there? Must have. It is going to be light blue. You cannot run a CSS file. We are good on that, right? CSS file is not going to go into browser. Which file is going to go? Your HTML every time. I did not. So you have to link it as well. Where do we link? In the head. And then style. Oh, I'm forgetting. href, src. How do you link it?
I've never typed it out.
Type?
Yes.
Type text CSS?
Yep.
What else? Name? Name? Here. So just drag and drop your CSS file. That's why I don't remember things, guys. Visual Studio has made my life easier. So you have to start link href style sheet or CSS rel style sheet. It has to be like this. And the amazing thing is you are going to do everything in Visual Studio, but you are going to write your exam. So you have to remember it, even if I can't.
Yay!
Yay!
That's not this.
Right? So now it is linked, and now we have to.
Can you just write the first letter and then tag?
No, because I don't remember things. Remember? So what happened here? It changed the font color. It hasn't changed the background color. Because I selected the attribute of colors, not the background color. So I have to select the color attribute of background color. So this was light green somehow. Peachy color or background color? There's background color there. And then Alice blue is nice. I quite like it. Right? Max. Right. Where are we? Okay, so you can add your links. Yes?
这个文件它在这儿建吗？
It should be under head.
对，
Tags. Within head.
那个
See, I wrote it within head.
style sheet，
Within head. It can't be in body. Right?
pass 暧昧还行。
But you have selector, you have your pseudo class, and then property value. You want me to read? So, if you don't have Visual Studio, then you have to write these hexadecimal values, and to grab them, I used to go back to my desktop and do appearance. Try to do things. I don't know.
It's really good if you Google.
我是看到的太大了。
Yeah, there are. Yeah, you can. That's easiest.
Literally identify.
Good. Okay, so this is the last one. So managing your style sheets. Use style comments throughout. You have colors, that's fine, but if you do not, if you're writing hexadecimal value, I don't know which hexadecimal value it is, you have to comment it and write it. And what else? Divide your style sheet into sections. So I would know that this section you are talking about, this page is this style sheet, this page is this style sheet. So you can actually organize your style sheets as well based on different pages. Okay. You can have a meta style sheet, which is consistent throughout all pages. Then you can have separate style sheets for different other pages. So it depends on you, but it should be comprehensible. Organization scheme should be something there. It should be consistent, and you should keep your style sheets as small as possible. You know, I hate driving down, scrolling down, and even I think other people as well. Combine style sheets using import rule. So this is the one that I'm going to show you, and you can use that. Also consider creating one style sheet for basic pages, and yeah, there are other things that you can use. And then now let's use one style sheet. So all three style sheets above will be loaded from a single document because you're using / CSS, typographic or CSS, then it's a folder CSS, then layout.css, import CSS, color.css, and these all three CSS can be loaded from a single document. And we still have to see how it works. Anyway, you are not required to do it for your style effort, that's fine, you can test it out later. For your quiz, now if you have not finished reading your lecture 1, I think the one that we have covered in the class is enough to do your quiz. So you can do it now, it's 10 minutes quiz, but you have time till 11:55 p.m. today. It's a 10-minute quiz, just one time submission can be done. After 10 minutes, it will submit automatically, but I suggest you submit it yourself before 10 minutes. If you get more than 50%, you will get a tutorial whole point. But if not, then I would like you to take attendance then. If you're getting 2 marks and then say I was in the class but I didn't get a tutorial mark, then you'll be sad and I'll be sad too. I don't want you guys to be sad. I want you guys to be happy and work. And you. Yes, now I know what you is. Bill Yang, Chris Bishop, I know. Chris Atkinson, I know. Daniel. Dennis Liu. Good. Now I know. Adam. Sorry if I'm not pronouncing it correctly. ERDM. Hershey is here. I'm sorry. 9906984. 1803954. Isaac.
Yeah.
Isaac. There are two Isaac. Both are here. Okay, good. James here. 180418898. Jingma. Okay. Johnny.
Yep.
There are two Johnny.
It's
Good.
with an E.
Yeah, both are here. Junlin.
Yeah.
Cassie. Junlin is here. Cassie Tan. Cassie.
是
Kim.
我那个，我都
Kim.
去看一下，那叫什
Yeah.
么？
Kofa is here. Lexika is here. Mahmuditya is not here. Neil. Ryan.
Yeah.
Scott. Scott Lonergan is not here. Sean.
不知道
Okay.
哪个是我的，但是他去看一下
Sheldon.
妈的，我也不知道念的是不是。
163744709. Sibu. Stefan. Stephen.
他日文那怎么念
C
？C， 他不会放那个音，他 S 那个
Have
音
I pronounced correctly?
C C 好像
No.
日
How
文
do
那
you
怎么？
pronounce it?
Sven.
Sven. Okay.
一会儿再看一下吧。
Who?
对对对。
Who? Okay. 152633075. 162876163. 163359696. 162876164. 172858882. 180444654. Good.
看一下，看一下，大概先可以。
Does he done everything? Wait, are we going I'm just like, stuff like something.
Someone of my class was complaining about